we have sensors that are highlighted. We're in our corporate office today. We're going to utilize Blankfire. So we can still detect Blankfire because it still emits a signature of a gunshot. The only difference is it's a reduced coverage area. So when you start to look at preparedness, so it's great that you have technology, but if you don't train with technology, then you're only as good as what you train to. So with our system, there is a training mode. So you can transition to a training mode, leverage gunshot detection, leverage video management, access control without having to present a weapon into the environment. So we're very cognizant that some cultures, some workplaces, really you can't present a weapon to run a drill. So what you can do is leverage our interface and simulate gunshots with our trainer, and then play the scenario for real. So today we'll have Blankfire, we'll have an individual, and what you're going to look for is you're going to look for an audio. You're going to listen for an audio alert, and you're going to look for a visual cue on the map itself, the information, and then you're going to see an icon pulse of the first shot. And then follow on, what we're going to do is look for alerts via SMS, texting, and email on the phone. Kendra, if you could slide that phone to the right, because I think, no, correction, if you could slide the screen to the right so that we can see the floor plans and the thumbnails off to the left, please. So as Kendra just exposed, what we have off to the left is it's representative of multi-building, multi-floor. So what you're not going to have to do is you're not going to have to search for a floor, for a location for where that shot occurred. It's going to get pulled to the forefront of the event. So when it pops, it'll pull to the floor that it's on and the location. Additionally, on the bottom, that's the icon that I mentioned for identify shotting, leaving a breadcrumb trail. So we'll watch that as it goes through. Kendra, could you do me one favor? Could you put the icon back to the first floor, please? Okay. All right, Rob, go ahead.
Shot detected.
So we get first shot. First shot, we get a notification on the map itself where it's a red halo over a green dot. We get a visual shot detected. Off to the right, we saw first shot was located with the information. And so now we've notified, hey, there's that first shot that's been located. Now we get a notification via cell phone, which gives us detailed information that a gunshot has occurred. The customer can ultimately decide what message that goes out, whether it's a detailed scripted message to first responders or it's a generic message that's broadcast out to occupants.
Shot detected.
Second shot, now we see movement of the individual. As the threat continues to move, we can now start to track. So as if we look at our active shooter protocols of run, hide, fight, we ask our questions, when do we run, when do we hide, when do we fight? Now we're starting to be provided information that is allowing us to potentially make the decision that's going to remove us from the threat. So we look off again in the shot log, identified, and now we're getting our notifications via text of the information that's provided per shot.
Shot detected.
Third shot now identifies the shooters in a specific office. From that information, if I'm a first responder and I'm arriving now within the first minute of the event, I may decide not to do a systematic clearance of the facility. I may be able to push to the second floor to isolate and contain the threat. We'll hear additional alerts from the mass notification. It's now providing that detailed information or information depending on the distribution list, whether it's tied to a digital PA that's a general message, or what we're seeing here is an information via text messaging. So now if I look as a first responder, typical tactical clearance is, hey, shots fired, 123 Main Street, ABC building. Well, now I have to take the whole building as a problem. But if I've been given detailed information, i.e. it's a second floor, this room location, then it allows me information to maybe change my ground tactical plan. I may be able to make entry in a separate area and move to isolate to contain the threat based off the last known piece of information. If I'm an occupant, now I know, based off of whatever floor I'm on, I have some detailed information. As Kendra slid over the cursor of each sensor that was been deployed, there's some additional information for that sensor. But what we do see is we see a breadcrumb trail that's from first shot, second, and then ultimately the third shot as that threat continues to move. All right, now we're going to transition to a second iteration of the event. And now we're going to show integration with a video management platform. Today we're using Genetec Security Center. What's key about this one integration is this is actually a native plugin developed by Genetec, who's one of our strategic partners. This is one example of a video management platform, but as we've stated before, we've integrated it into a large variety of multiple video management platforms. So within this video management platform, we'll highlight some of the capabilities, and then additionally, we'll walk you through the Everbridge mass notification system with that integration. So what you're looking at right now is a screen. There's Rob, our shooter today. He's getting prepped. We're in a live view of Security Center, so we're in a monitoring state. So that's a live view of a camera view right now. Off in the upper right-hand corner is actually our map that's embedded within the Genetec system. Those green icons are our sensor icons. Kendra, if you can slide over, go to the alarm monitoring piece. In an additional tab, this tab right here, we'll see an automatic pull-up with a shot, and then there'll be a replay mode that's conditioned within the system itself. So now that it can replay the activity based off of the requirements put in by the customer. And then one final, can you slide to the Maps tab, please? And so the Maps tab is going to allow us to, one, have a visual map, but then there's a unique feature, and we'll highlight that during the demonstration, that's going to allow you to select a camera view that's been alerted, so you're able to reach in and, looking at a single pane of glass, find immediate location of the shot and the camera so that it's an automatic pull to the forefront, and now start to grab additional information as it unfolds. So as we talked about before, if you look at an active shooter event in your organization right now without any gunshot technology, you're relying on human behavior and panic to notify you of information. And that is 100% subjective, and most of the time it's wrong. And what we highlighted the first run, without any integrations whatsoever, now we start to paint the picture. We get alerting within a second that it is a gunshot and it's a location. So now we can use that information to start making decisions. And now when we look at the integration portion, from here, from first shot, we'll look at the effectiveness of video management, a video management platform, and then a mass notification platform as we start to build that common operating picture while the threat unfolds. Okay, Rob, go ahead.
Shot detected.
So what we saw is we now see the tab pull to the forefront, and now as the VMS system populates, we now see Rob in field of view with a weapon system. Blue shirt, looks like to be a shoulder-fired weapon. Right now, the individual's static, and now the individual's, looking around. We have notifications near immediate. Kendra, can you go to the map, please? So at the same time, now we have a notification on the map. And within the map, now we can visually see the location of the shot.
Shot detected.
Second shot automatically pulled to the forefront. We now look in a long hallway. As Kendra transitions over, she's now on the map. She's now able, in that long hallway, that camera view, because there's distance, she can now zoom in and get a more descriptive piece of information. We show movement. We're hearing the notifications that are being broadcast out within the network, and now we're showing direction of travel. So we're gaining and we're building on information. So now, previous on the first run, now as I respond to the event, depending on the information, I'm now potentially given description, number of shooter, what the individual is wearing, all within seconds. So we see a lot of times where the shooter may drop their weapon, they may try and blend in with the crowd to evacuate. Now you're starting to build that picture so that you can isolate and contain the threat as soon as possible. And once again, automatic pull to the forefront. The camera pulls, notified on a map, and here's the notification that it's coming through. So what we get is on the floor plan, notification, camera pulls up. Now it's detailed. We know they're in the conference room right now. The individual's in the conference room. and we can start to, continue to relay that information in a timely manner. If this information is not broadcast to a security operations center, but it's broadcast to the general occupants in a building, well, then by that way, they have now information whether they decide to run, hide, or fight. Kendra, can you pull up the Everbridge video management on the mirror image of your phone? And so you're hearing the alerting that's been going on with each shot being fired. So as Kendra looks, she's got notifications that shots have been fired via the app itself. Can you open up one of the alerts, please? So within that alert, now we have detailed information, and then specific to Everbridge, they're saying, hey, please confirm receipt. So now there's an acknowledgement that you acknowledge that there is an active shooter event within the organization. So what this highlights is that multiple outputs of information leveraging security technologies and integrations, you can really start to build on raising that level of awareness and providing critical information as you look to install and develop your active shooter protocols. So now I ask you, if I run, when do I hide, when do I fight with critical information? Now potentially I can decide if I'm by an exit on the first floor and I hear shots fired on the second floor, I may make the best decision to evacuate the building. But now I'm armed with information that's allowing me the best decision. You're not dictating or mandating what people do, but what we found in some of the trials and certifications at the government level, when you provide occupants with the information of the location of the shooter, their survivability increases because now they're armed with information so that they ultimately can make the best decision. That's the key. We don't solve the whole problem. We acknowledge that, but we do believe we're the critical piece to it. Now when you fuse with additional technologies, we really put a robust package that changes the outcome of the event itself. So as I walk through, what we highlighted here is that we alert within a second. We're a zero false alert system. We can leverage existing or future capability to really enhance the information, increase situational awareness, and provide a common operating picture, ultimately removing the human from the decision loop, not relying on panic or emotion to make decisions, but allowing on certified technology to help shape the outcome of an active shooter event. All right, Kendra, now I'll switch to you for Q&A.
Yes, all right. Thanks, Dan, and thanks, Rob. That was Rob Errico, our Senior Product Engineer.